Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Channel that Bryon Lape Reads. And here we have some more science edition. This is the word that should not be named. You can't say the C word. You can't say the one that starts with a number. So a few weeks ago, I read some articles about Sweden and how they were approaching all this stuff. And some people thought I was an absolutely loony. I mean, if you think the comments on YouTube are bad, you should really go find my my Twitter feed or my Facebook page, because people ripped me a new one, 8 Ways to Sunday, and I was just like, okay, I didn't take my. It's like, okay, let's just see what happens. So now this is from Forbes magazine. It's a little bit more of this is in the travel section, I guess. They have Gabriel Lee. So the predicted coronavirus catastrophe hasn't arrived in Sweden yet. What's next? Yet is not there. I added that. Although Stockholm lately appears as if a growing number of people are moving on from the early depths of coronavirus anxiety. Sweden has maintained a higher degree of normalcy than most of the other countries over the past decade. They treated this like any other pandemic. When AIDS broke out in the 80s, we didn't all freak out and shut down the world economy. Now, I'm not going to get into whether or not it was on purpose or an accident. I really think a lot of this is just completely on accident because of the incompetence of the people going on it. But there's definitely a concerted effort. And who knows how long this video will stay up. But there's definitely a concerted effort in some manner or fashion. There's no public debate of this stuff, okay? Tokyo did not shut down like New York and had nowhere near the death and problems that New York City had, okay? Even though it's a denser population. Other countries around the world have done this. New Zealand and Australia are going about things a little bit differently. So is Switzerland. Now, granted, they're all having different levels of success against this. And I think a lot of this is we're turning the tide. But we have to get back to some order of normalcy. Okay. And does not mean wearing masks, which actually have been shown in study after study after study to absolutely be more dangerous, especially to the layperson who doesn't know how to wear the mask, and is using the wrong kind of mask, is rebreathing their own CO2. There's all kinds of other health issues that can be caused by the mask wearing. Okay. So those Swedes are still encouraged to keep distance. See, this is what I'm saying. Keep some space around you. Be mindful. This is how we should always be living. We shouldn't be cramming ourselves against one another. Okay. I don't like big crowds. I absolutely hate crowds. Go watch my INTJ video. Okay. Crowds wear me out. And I don't like to be close in with people. I will wait for another elevator when there's too many people. I will use the steps. I will avoid people. Just because, and it's not over germs. It's just, maybe it is in part. Okay. So although Swedes have been still encouraged to keep a distance, work from home and avoid non-essential travels before, there are signs that are now deciding to get back to something resembling. Yeah. And they also actually did a real quarantine. They put the people that were ill and those that were most likely to be affected. And they hid them away as if it were. Okay. So here we have some Swedish singers. I don't know how old this image is. It's getting, I mean, this is summertime. Sweden's a little bit further north, and so this is definitely not around now. But who knows? Maybe it was last weekend. The changes are subtle, but subtle, as some people down in East Tennessee, where I grew up, would say. The highway into town from the south now looks as jammed up at 8 a.m. as it ever did on a weekday morning. That's supported by a mobile phone. Okay. Shopping centers where a handful of stores have gone dark for a time voluntarily, which is good. See, this is, to me, is leave it up to the business. Does the business want to take the chance? Do the people who patronize that business want to take the chance? The government should not be. And this is libertarianism right here. Okay. And this is what the U.S. used to be based on. This is what's crazy about it. Sweden is not socialist either. They have gone to great lengths to go against Bernie on that one. And advertising summer and fall trips, especially fascinating given all the grounded planes and the ongoing uncertainty as to when anybody will be able to take trips. Okay, yeah. Yesterday in the downtown park, the streets were kids everywhere. And yesterday, even where I live, on the street behind me, my street doesn't have a whole lot of young kids on it anymore. They've all grown up and they're teenagers or older. But the street behind us does. And man, they were out playing and having a great time. Our barbecue was 0 social distancing involved. So there we go. There's something added. So here we have people enjoying the sunshine. I don't know if this is recent or not. I want to believe it is. Now this one's probably is because everybody's in long sleeves because it's sunny. What else? Anecdotal evidence suggests people are returning to the hairdressers in large numbers. Now, in some states, it's the governors who have done it, or the mayors of towns, the do as I say, not as I do people. But less people were going to get their haircut nonetheless. Another interesting development, hand sanitizer is back in stock. Yeah, we still don't have toilet paper around me. I mean, it's like it gets in and it's gone in 5 minutes. But it's there for the first time in about 2 months. Again, the correct precautions. If you are susceptible to this, stay away from people. Do extra step of cleansing. You probably should be using this anyway, in particular around flu season, okay, and cold season, just to kick down on stuff. All this follows a handful of mostly optimistic reports that the Public Health Agency in Sweden indicated that the rate of low infections and death remains stable even as numbers continue to rise. Okay, because part of it's overall cases, right? Too, some people are going to have this for a day or two. Some people are going to have it for a couple of weeks, and there's all kinds of information on how to properly treat, and I won't get into that. And that's interesting as well. A particular interesting reports that around 1/4 of Stockholm, some say maybe more, is believed to have already had the virus. Although the number has been debated, and they're starting. And I've got an article, and I'm going to get to as well. Not in this presentation about can we trust those, and maybe we can't. I mean, I've heard a lot of rumblings about some of these tests, and I mean, just search YouTube and you'll find all kinds of so-called experts talking about this virus and whether we testing and whether the RNA is actually good. Okay. Now is essentially interesting time to keep an eye on what happens as many countries in Europe, including Sweden also doesn't allow for a lot of their healthcare system allow for people to just, the U.S. has a lot of burden on the healthcare system, mainly due to the way people live and pre-diabetic and all that other stuff, and then go into the emergency room with sniffles because they have a cold, that type of stuff, and they don't allow that. Swedish authorities seem to have accepted that infections and death would inevitably climb. Yeah, they're going to climb. They're going to go up a little bit in particular because until we have a handle this, and whether this is a natural virus or it was created in a lab is immaterial at this point, unless you have a way to combat it. And vaccines look like they're pretty much useless. Had avoided wider infections up until now. Will countries like Denmark and Norway see a surge in cases when they try to open? Yeah, they absolutely will. When we open, the countries open up, there will be a surge because people are going to start interacting, and there's going to be exchange of germs that hasn't happened in 2 months. Will Swedes, having been infected more widely at a reasonable controlled pace, now be better off than anyone else? I will say yes. As we attempt to restart the economic activity. I mean, they still had a high tax burden. They have a lot of baggage to overcome. But as far as a population, I think the Swedes are way ahead of most people. Suddenly seeing cases jump and a lockdown imposed. Okay. Or could it be that taking a different turn? I don't think you're going to see a lockdown imposed. The lockdown is suicide. It is economic and cultural suicide. All the questions and ramifications from the entire world. Yeah. Let's just get on with it. Okay. And let's say worst case scenario. People are going to hate this. I know they're going to hate this comment, but let's say a third of the people around the world die. We've seen plagues and other things take out far bigger chunks of the population, and we keep going. Okay. And things like this have happened naturally. And whether this is natural or man-made or man took something and just kind of modified it, immaterial. Hiding in the sand, putting our head in the sand and locking ourselves away, long-term benefits, health benefits of that, our health degradation is far greater than if we just faced it head on. So there we go. So Gabriel Lee, some people are going to love this. Some people are going to think that Sweden is still crazy. The science doesn't bear you out, but the science isn't fully there. We don't fully have all the data on the other way either. So let's kind of swing that pendulum in the middle. Let's start getting back to work. Let's keep our distances. Let's not overcrowd stuff. Let's not overwhelm things, but let's support local businesses and let's get going. Let's get going and face this head on as opposed to running away from it. So what do you think? Do you think Sweden's still doomed, or do you think they're going to lead the world and show the world, hey, this is what we need to do? And we can have other discussions of what should happen, what the ramifications of some of our so-called experts should be. Thank you very much, and we will see you. Goodbye. All right, are we ready? Okay, 3, 2. Yeah, I did not add that to the end of the other one. That's because, all right, bye. 3, 2, 1.